Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
A busy Hungarian pit lane as we get ready for race 8 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. Down in the pit lane is Ben Constanduras. Let's catch up with Thiago Monteiro, who retired in race 1.
An incredibly hectic garage down here at Honda. The last hour, the car has been completely stripped apart. You've got the parts all over the floor here. Thiago, just how much damage did that the accident have with you?
Quite a lot of damage to the front, honestly. Big hits when the tire exploded. That's what sent me in the wall. But the guys did an amazing job. It's a miracle that I'm starting the race, so here we go.
Any ideas what caused it?
There was a push from Coronel and some of the touches. We're not sure exactly, but something cut the tire and in the straight line exploded.
Thiago getting ready to get in the car as soon as the pit lane opens to allow him to go out and test if the car is ready to race.
Well, watching that in replay, and while you were listening to Thiago really trying to work out where it all started, Coronel he was not the cue ball, he got knocked into Thiago. And, you know, in the end, the legacy was Thiago had the big accident. He will start from the back of the grid. They've had to take the car out of Parc Fermé, which is means that you give up your grid position and head to the back. Pepe Oriola's car has not. Lots of damage on that. I decree that tank tape may well be needed here, and maybe a little bit more. They're trying to sort out the fixing points for that wing, and that's not a quick job.
It's strange that they haven't taken that out of Parc Fermé, because to retire normally you've got to have a relatively substantial amount of damage, and you know, I don't know, it's hard to tell from looking at that. To me, it looks almost like Daryl Young gets tagged and then it just all checks up and everyone's hitting everybody, but it looks like Daryl might have bumped into the back of Coronel.
Well,
no,
somebody did. By the time we picked that up, I'm not entirely sure it wasn't one of the Bamboo Engineering Chevys. But, again, you know, hard to tell. Well, let's hear from the horse's mouth what is the state of Pepe Oriola's car, because he's with Ben.
4 or 5 cars out of Parc Fermé regulations and getting the car fixed. One car that was involved in the first lap crash but actually did not take Parc Fermé, meaning a lot of work. Pepe Oriola's car. Can you tell me what happened in that second lap accident?
I actually doesn't know yet, because I didn't saw the matches in TV. But I was in the outside, close to Daryl Young, and I don't know, I had a hit from that side. And I was talking to him, and he said that he didn't touch me. He also had touched from another driver from the inside. So I don't know exactly who started the crash, but for sure that it's bad, because now we have to repair the car in these 15 minutes, and we hope that everything is going to be okay. But you know that when you have so many, not a lot of time to repair the car, it's hard to put it perfectly to race clever.
And that's actually a question for Pepe Oriol Senior. Pepe, tell me why you decided not to fix the car outside of Parc Fermé.
I don't understand, please.
Why did you decide not to fix the car out of Parc Fermé and fix it now?
No, because my son is in Yokohama Trophy, because it's official. It's 10 more drivers, so we go to the points.
Thank you.
Well, going to try and preserve their grid position, that was the answer. And in fact, what we were seeing when we saw the mechanic with the metal bar, with the drift, he was trying to loosen the top strut because they are changing the drive shaft. Also having problems getting the bonnet to close because there's nothing to close it to. The mounting pin has been moved out of position. So all sorts of dramas going on there. And yet we frequently see that, because Parc Fermé means literally closed park. The car is parked in the garage. You are not allowed to touch it. If you touch it in any way, you are instantly sent to the back of the grid. And that's to stop cars being changed wholesale between the races. It's it's a competition thing, but also it helps to keep the cost down. You don't just throw new suspension at a car for every single race and things like that. So what they've done, even though he's not in the top 10, he's, what, 12th place on the grid, 13th place on the grid, isn't he? They're trying to preserve that rather than starting 24th. Norbert Mikulit's a little bit of work going on his car as well. Mostly, it's got to be said, with the polish.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much to be done there, is there really? As long as they'll just be straight, making sure everything's okay, checking the oil levels, water levels, just making sure everything's fine and dandy, which...
Well, he had a little gearbox flutter before, after qualifying. It was overheating, but that seems not to have been a problem. They stripped it and rebuilt it last night.
So come and take me higher. World Superbikes Monza next weekend, live on British Eurosport 2 HD.
Holidays?
No.
Business?
No.
Friends?
No.
Why are you so far away from home?
I have no idea.
Take a good look at these gut-wrenching images, because soon they're gonna be history. Get out of here! It's a thing of the past, guys. How is that possible, I hear you ask? Well, it's thanks to ACCA Insurance. Have a 5 or more Team ACCA on your mobile and lose by 1, and you'll get your money back as a free bet. It's a great idea. It's my idea. This is the future. Yes. People, unleash your mobiles. Fire up your iPads. You know where to come.
Here's the thing, no one likes missing anything. That's why I'm thrilled now that you can get catch-up on your TV via Sky Plus. BBC iPlayer, ITV, 4OD. It's incredible. Boom. So now I don't have to watch it on my small screen, balancing on my lap, sharing it with my wife. We can sit down as a family on the couch, eating pizza while I doze off and the dog's on my lap and the wife is saying on the phone to someone. But we're, as a family, watch it on the big screen, not on a little tiny thing.
Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
You know, not getting out.
Busy time in the pit lane. 8 minutes until the pit lane closes. And, well, this is something that Norbert Mikulits and his team, among others, have known plenty about. A tank tape special as Pepe Oriola's car is glued together. What about James Thompson's Lada? Let's hear from Victor Shapovalov.
We're down in the place where James Thompson's car should have been, the first driver out on circuit. Victor, what sort of damage did James have after that first race 1 accident?
Damage was not so big. Damage will have, and now it's okay. Car is okay.
Is it frustrating for Lada? You seem to have the speed with Tomo, but he just doesn't have the luck, and there's always a little problem.
Yeah, I hope that our luckiness is finished now.
And of course, you repaired the car during the AutoGP race, so he will start from the back.
Yes, he will stop in the back because we lose the repair time. But in any case, I hope that it will be good testing before the Salzburg.
In fact, the car looks pretty straight now with the hammers on it. Thank you very much, Victor. Back upstairs.
Of course, Victor Shapovalov originally came into the World Touring Car Championship as a driver, didn't he, for the Russian Bears motorsport team. Then ran the Lada team in its first iteration when they were largely an independent, and now running the factory Lada operation, and still not enough room for all the bodies to go in. You can see them they're holding the drive shaft. They've got to connect it all back to a new hub for Pepe Oriola. They will have already bedded in brakes and discs. They will not be fresh out of a box because you can't race hard on them when they're brand new. It doesn't seem logical, but you've got to bring a heat cycle through them to make them work, Harry. So you should be okay with that.
Yeah, the brakes will be fine. It's where I think they'll probably have a problem is obviously that car's had a big whack on the front end. It needs to have the tracking system put back on it. They do have systems so they can do it quickly in the pit lane, but you know they're never quite perfect. And you know, there's literally 6 minutes to go. So to get all that done and to carry on fitting the drive shaft, it's going to be very, very tight.
It is indeed. You saw Gabriele Tarquini's car, a picture of serenity. Tiago's, they're trying to restart it. It didn't seem to want to run cleanly, and all of that, you know, the legacy of that shunt. If there's a tiny crack in the airbox somewhere, then suddenly all the electronic metering of fuel and air will be completely skewball, and it'll have no chance of running the engine cleanly. Gaffer tape being put on to hold everything to everything else. You can see the WTCC seal there over the bonnet to make sure that it's not opened. If that's broken, then you are immediately sent to the back of the grid. And there are similar seals on engines and gearboxes. If they don't go the number of races that they need to, as in Formula 1, then you incur a penalty. Well, our Drivers' Championship, led by three-time race winner Ivan Muller. Gabriele Tarquini, winner last time out. He is in second place. Tom Chilton in third, Muller's teammate. So certainly the Armel Chevrolets, while by no means having it all their own way this season, Muller is consistently racking up the points, and it's hard to argue with the driver who refuses to finish off the podium. Let's see if he can do it here in race 2.
Yeah, this is going to be a difficult one. I'll be honest, I didn't think that... I thought there was going to be a bit of a Honda dominance in that race, but obviously we saw one retire and Gabriele seemed to struggle a bit, and obviously Norbert did a fantastic job, but didn't quite have enough to take the challenge to Muller. But you know, Muller's starting further down the order this time, so it's going to be a bigger ask for him to get back up to the front.
Well, while any number of spanners and nuts and bolts and everything and miles of tang tape have been thrown at Pepe Oriola's car, significantly the heads under the bonnet of Thiago Monteiro's all had white shirts with Mugen Power on the back. They are the engine guys. It's not running cleanly. And Harry, you know, when you have a whack at the front, it pushes stuff back. I know the Chevys, for instance, in their air intake mountings have rubber in them to absorb at least a part of the impact without shattering them, because obviously the carbon fibre is extremely rigid and it's not going to bend or flex. It's just going to go. Yeah,
you're exactly right. The carbon fibre it's a shape which is perfectly designed so the engine can run at its optimal performance. And it's very different to what you would see on a road car, obviously. But like you say, if you push it and it gets a tiny little split in it, you know, you can be losing 10, 15 horsepower straight away.
Or it just won't run. It's like the air sensor doesn't know what it's doing because the air levels keep changing. Of course, the other thing is it's perfectly formed to fit a gap. And if the gap's smaller, it's not going to fit and it's fouling something else. Let's get down to hear from Joanna Ruz, who's with Ben.
Just standing where Fernando Monge has just left the pit lane. A little bit of damage to his car. Joan, everything okay?
Yes, everything okay for Ferran. We have some problems with Hugo Valente with the gearbox. So we are just on the limit to see if Hugo can go to the grid or not. Also, Beveriola with 20 have some problems, so let's see if we can arrive.
You have changed the gearbox in the last hour?
Yeah, we have opened the part permit for Hugo and we have changed the gearbox.
And in fact, you can see it just on the exit of the garage there, the whole gearbox out. And you think he'll get at least the start?
I hope we can arrive to the grid. Let's see, 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Wow, lots of pressure and lots of work to be done. And yeah, gearbox is not the sort of thing even a rally mechanic would try and change in 3 minutes. There's no option when you've got something like that going on. There's Andrea Adamo, the designer of this Civic, as the race car designer, not the actual designer of the Honda Civic as a car. And he's the man who's responsible for this. And you see Thiago in the car, hoping against hope that he is actually going to get a second race. At the moment, that's not looking entirely likely.
Japan quality. Yokohama. Your tire.
Tour de France winner. Olympic champion. National hero. 2012 was the year of Bradley Wiggins. Now, he sets his sights on the first Grand Tour of the year.
That is a remarkable piece of riding. Oh, Bradley You're up against it now, boy.
The Giro d'Italia, from the 4th of May, live on British Eurosport HD.
The road to freedom. Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
You can reach me many ways. It don't matter how and when. Simply make the time for the best time of your life. Malaysia, truly Asia. It's the place with it all. The best time of your life. Malaysia, truly Asia.
In life and sport, dealing with the challenges ahead requires focus, concentration, and a will to succeed. The International University Sports Federation promotes sports values in tune with the academic spirit. Thousands of student athletes from around the world participate in FISU's world-class sport competitions. Today's stars, tomorrow's leaders.
Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
Well, cars are on the grid, ready for race 8 in the FIA World Touring Car Championship at a sweltering Hungary. And in the background, you can see one of the only grandstands here that is not open this weekend. All the rest of them are pretty much full. And in fact, looking out the back window, the seats that aren't full, I can say, is because everybody's still queuing for their lunch behind us, and they will know from the noise that Norby is going to be back in action any moment. So Harry Folkard, they better either abandon ship and go and get their seats, or they're going to miss the beginning and perhaps some of the most eventful part of the weekend.
Yeah, they've only got a couple of minutes before the race starts, and like you say, there's a big old queue there, so...
As soon as they go, you're going out the back to get coffees in.
Yeah, I've got Rob what's left.
Absolutely. Alex McDowell is on pole from Mehdi Banani, Rob Huff and James Nash. 4 British drivers in the top 5, because Tom Chilton is 5th ahead of Tom Coronel, Gabriele Tarquini and Norbert Mikelic, who start in 8th place, ahead of Ivan Muller and Michael Nukia in 10th spot. And the reason that Nukia's gone up to 10th and Muller's gone up to 9th from 10th is that somebody in the top 10 has come out of Parc Fermé who should have been in the top 10 on the grid. And if I had half a brain about me, I would be able to recognise who it was, but I can't. So that's Thiago, of course. It's Thiago.
Yeah.
So Thiago is out of his grid position. Freddie Bart, James Thompson are down at the back of the grid after taking out of Parc Fermé, Hugo Vallant as well. It is a boost pressure problem for Thiago, which either means A, the turbocharger is broken, B, somewhere in the intercooler there is a leak in the intercooler, the charge cooler, or somewhere in the turbo ducting, or C, and this is almost always car drivers, what's wrong with your car? It's leaking electronics somewhere.
Yeah, that's probably what I would imagine, but it could be any, as you say, it could be any sort of pipe work. It's just not quite generating the boost that it should to give it the grunt, and it could just be something simple
Well,
like
the
that.
legacy of when you hit stuff with the front of the car, when the engine is right at the front of the car, is generally something gets moved around in the engine bay, and often it's something else that gets moved into bits in the engine bay, and especially if it's leaking electricity, that's very hard to spot. Starting position number 12 for Franz Engsler. That sounded very NASCAR, didn't it? I'm sorry about that. 12th on the grid for Franz Engsler, the Liqui BMW of a German driver, the second oldest man in the championship. The oldest man, of course, being race winner Gabriele Tarquini.
Franz Engsler seems to have struggled a little bit this season. I can't quite get my head around it, because he's got a lot of experience and he knows those cars inside out. It just seems a little bit unusual that he's just not seemed to have got his head around it this season. And I don't know, maybe we are seeing BMWs like competing with decent pace as we saw in race 1. So I don't think it's just a BMW problem. It's, you know, perhaps the other cars have been developed slightly on dampers or suspension, and maybe his has been left stationary a little bit.
Well, yes, again, maybe they're with a different damper company or something, and they're finding different problems for their solutions. Pepe Oriola Senior on the left of the shot and Pepe Oriola Junior in the car with, yeah, one of the ugliest looking cars on the grid you're going to see in any race. It is more tank tape now than car in front of the windscreen. Michel Nukia with his little Smurf on board there. I must ask him what that's all about. I suppose it's, you know, something donated by the kids or something like that. Yeah, little good luck Smurf. Takes you right back, doesn't it? 10th place on the grid for the Dane. Of course, he's been a race winner this season as well. With his first ever World Touring Car win. And Ivan Muller will line up in 9th place. So it's an ill wind that blows no good. And with Thiago Monteiro not making out the pit lane, Ivan Muller moves up to 9th spot because Thiago's car was taken out of Parc Fermé. And so Muller moves up a spot from what would have been a 10th starting position. Of course, all of his rivals in front move further forward as well. But it has, at least from Muller's point of view, got rid of one Honda out of the way. It hasn't, unfortunately, moved either this Honda or Gabriele Tarquini's Honda, which are possibly the two that Ivan would be more worried about here. And you can hear in the background the crowd making known their appreciation of the man in the orange and black Honda, the Zengo Motorsport driver Norbert Mikulich. And Harry, just picture that scene, you know, sitting in a car as 70,000 people bay your name across the grid.
The pressure, you'd think it would be self-imposed, but he seems to, you know, we touched on it in race 1, he seems to just turn it around and use it as a positive, but it must be so daunting to everywhere you go. People are, you know, there's a picture of him in the pit lane, and there's a queue of people waiting to get a photo taken next to the standy-up picture of him. And, you know, it's that pressure on your shoulders can sometimes, I think, either make you or break you, I guess.
Yeah, well, it hasn't broken him. It's really been the making of him and the team, and in terms of recognition in Hungary of the championship as well. Having that national involvement has made a massive difference to people's understanding of the World Touring Car Championship.
That is the bang on the back of Coronel's car, which obviously was what sent him in the car in front.
Yeah, he got clattered and then was... again, you know, the cars are so close to their limit here, absolutely braking at the last possible moment they dare to avoid going off the track or having an impact. So if you then get thumped 10 metres beyond your braking point, 5 metres beyond your braking point, you go 5 metres further than you should do, and that normally means, especially at the start of a race, into somebody else's car. If you're a metre further forward than you should be, you're normally into somebody else's car. So Tom Coronel, luckily his car survived pretty much intact, and he starts in 6th place. Just in front of him, the other Tom Chilton. They battled all the way through the race, didn't they? Chilton in 5th spot in his Chevrolet Cruze. Again, you can see the seals there on the doors, WTCC seals, and all the panels and gaps are sealed by the stewards and scrutineers to make sure that the cars are not opened before the repair time. And James Nash, his car didn't need much, did it, in terms of damage? Just a bit of a polish. Tom Chilton's needed a mirror, but the two Bamboo cars got through that race pretty clean and unscathed.
Yeah, I think the guys are fairly happy there because they, you know, to avoid the troubles part of the problem anyway, and they both managed to keep out of it and got some more points on the board. But I think they were both hoping for a little bit better, but you know, I don't think they can complain too much.
Of course, they also scored very strongly, both of them, in the Yokohama Trophy, which is their real prime focus. James Nash is the points leader. Rob Huff, the reigning world champion, lines up 3rd on the grid with a great opportunity to put himself on the podium once more. Do you know what? You know, at some stage, he's got to have a really good run of form, and this wouldn't be a half-bad place to do it. He lines up behind the front row men. And on the front, outside front row, with the inside run down to the first corner, is Mehdi Banani. And if he's going to win a World Touring Car race, this, without question, has got to be his best chance so far in his career. And he was full of excitement and enthusiasm for the car and his performance in race 1, where he took his first win in the Yokohama Trophy. I think he might be mentally in about the right place. But first, he's got to get the better of Alex McDowell, the pole sitter for Bamboo Engineering. And again, he's feeling pretty comfortable in the car now. 2nd year with the team and with the Chevy Cruze. And again, we could end up with a first-time winner here. If either of those two front row guys wins, that's a first-time winner in the World Touring Car Championship. It might just happen here.
Additives and motor oils made in Germany. Liqui Moly.
The road to freedom. Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
I have decided to be more than just a tick-tock kind of clock. Imagine if I made precious moments less momentary. Because in the end, we have a choice. Do we settle for ordinary? Or do we strive to be made of more?
Liqui Moly. Additives and motor oils made in Germany.
Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
Yes. Three-time world champion Ivan Muller is our championship leader from Gabriele Tarquini and Tom Chilton. Michel Nukia, the leading driver of a Yokohama trophy car, in 4th place overall, and of course already an outright race winner this year. We're here at the Hungaroring for round 8 of the 2013 FIA World Touring Car Championship. Martin Haven, and alongside me is Harry Folkard watching the action. And Harry, in the grandstands below our commentary position here, every single person is on their feet just for the formation lap watching the cars go away. They've now all sat down, but they'll be up and down like a Mexican wave every time Norbert Michaelis comes past, no matter what he's doing. Whether he'll be involved in the battle at the front there remains to be seen. Rob Huff's definitely got a chance. James Nash lining up 4th, he's got a chance as well, and he'll want to catch Mehdi Benani and take more Yokohama trophy points. Benani now up to 4th place in the Yokohama standings. Nash leads, McDowell still just 10 points behind him.
What do you think about a Huff win?
That is a definite possibility. Definite possibility. A BMW win is not off the cards either, and if Ivan Muller gets on the podium, I wouldn't be entirely surprised. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, with this Touring Car Championship, it is so close. There are a dozen drivers who could easily win a race, given the right circumstances. And into that, you've then got to throw the odd, curveball. McDowell has never won a race. Nash never won a race. Benani's never won a race. That's 3 of the top 4. We've had 2 first-time winners already this season, both in Marrakesh, in Pepe Oriola and Michel Nukia. And it's not beyond the bounds of possibility that we're going to get another one, and we're only 8 races in, which would almost mean, if we get a third, that's almost half the race has been won by people who've never won already, and the other half pretty much by Ivan Muller. So yeah, it's a bit of a topsy-turvy season.
I think you're right. There's a whole bunch of guys who could potentially win this. They've all got front-running pace. And they're all at the front of the grid, so it could come down to the first lap, could come down to who gets off the line the best. Obviously, we'll see the BMW make a great start, and Coronel, he's still in 5th. He can definitely fight his way up, I think, in this one.
Oh, did you see the tension there in Mehdi Benani's father? His mother looked relatively sanguine, his grandmother looked relatively relaxed, but his dad is taking big deep breaths already. Andrea Adamo encourages the crew to even greater exertion to get Thiago's car ready to race. It looks like he is going to take the start of the race from the pit road. He will join in right at the back. Well, now then, you'd say, OK, just briefly on the Thiago thing, what's the point? But, of course, Harry, it's all miles. The car is only 7 races old. It's all miles. They've got to do everything they can to get a race going.
Yeah, they might have solved it as well, so they've got to send it out if they can.
He's ready to rock. He will join at the back of the field once everybody else has gone by. But first, we have got to get race 8 underway. The green flag waves at the back of the grid. We are ready for round 8 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. A very quick change of lights. Alex McDowell on the right, your picture. Mehdi Banani on the left. Who's got the better start? Banani has. Coronel's coming. Huff is coming as well. Rob Huff down the inside. Banani is clear. Huff is up into second. Coronel in third. McDowell is being swamped because that is Muller around the inside and Chilton around the outside. McDowell in the middle. Coronel tries to get through. Somebody's lost a bit of bodywork. Tarquini's in there. But a great start from Ivan Muller. He is still looking for third place. Still looking for third place. Coronel with Chilton inside and will get east wide, and Muller will try and turn inside them. Banani leads. Coronel, and off has gone. Oh, a huge accident for Tarquini. Takes out Engstler as well.
That was a massive crash. It was a big
Massive crash, pushed off sideways where nobody goes off into an unprotected barrier. Gabrielli is okay, and that is what matters. McDowell, that's Nash up the inside of Coronel, and Chilton and Muller are right there, and this is for third place. Banani and Huff out front. No, this is for fourth. So Coronel gets back in front.
Yeah, Banani, Huff, McDowell, and then Nash.
Yeah. McDowell is in third, and there is a safety car, unsurprisingly, for Gabriele Tarquini's accident. Wow, so dramatic first couple of corners, and yes, he's really had the wind knocked out of his sails. The marshal there, the crossed fist there, asking for medical assistance. Engstler is out of his car, took much less of a hit.
That was a big impact with the barrier.
Yeah.
It was lucky it didn't launch it into somebody else's path. I think most guys saw it bouncing back.
Well, from the highs of race wins to the disappointment of big accidents, it's all part of the rich tapestry of motor racing, but the former are definitely easier to take. You saw Mehdi Banani's family looking pretty happy. Their boy leads, and of course, any laps behind the safety car are laps that he can't be overtaken. And Gabrielli, the adrenaline got him out of the car, but that was a massive shunt. That car stopped from going very fast sideways in less than a foot.
There was hardly any deflection from the barrier either, was it? The car just took the brunt of that.
Absolutely. Well, away from the start, lots of smoke. Good start from Rob Huff, bad start from James Nash, worst start from Alex McDowell on pole. Banani clears off. Coronel on the right, lining up behind Huff. Now, Huff comes across instantly. He knows that McDowell has not made great starts this season. We were talking about that after qualifying, funnily enough. And then McDowell has Coronel coming up the inside. Everybody's looking on the inside channel, except for Chilton, who goes around the outside. McDowell gets pushed into Coronel. At that stage, Tarquini bumping along with Muller. Down into turn 2. They all get a bit squirrely. Chilton on the inside. Now let's see what happens to Gabrielli on the exit. He's already sideways, spun around. In fact, it goes in driver's side, doesn't it? He gets hooked up across the nose of Ivan Muller, who's also off the track, and that was driver's side. Luckily, it wasn't flat on, it was nose-tail in quick succession, which takes some of the sting out. But boy, that was a big shot, and all those cars have driven over all that debris. Looking at Tom from Ivan, that's Gabrielli, and he was getting pushed out wide as well, wasn't he, by Chilton or McDowell, I'm not sure which.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of guys in front. That's obviously not intentional, but...
And yikes, look, driving through the debris field, everybody off trying to avoid that. Yeah, Gabrielli is clearly okay, but, you know, that's the sort of thing that pops ribs, cracks ribs. I'm sure he's probably very glad that he doesn't have to race next weekend. It's Pepe Oriola's car there, looking almost as second-hand as Gabrielli's and Franz Engstler's.
It's not too dissimilar to the crash that Darlow Young had last week in Slovakia.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he still saw this week from the result of that as well, because those side-on impacts, obviously the car's not... It is designed to take impact, but a driver side-on like that, you don't really want that.
Well, that's why modern racing seats have big wings, isn't it? So that the helmet doesn't get thrown sideways, and that helps protect the ribs to a degree as well. But there is a lot of, you know, your hips are pinioned, but your upper body moves to a degree, and that's what damages the ribs. All that debris being swept out of the way, and I'm afraid that's another new shell. Although the door opened, and again, you know, we talked about this before, didn't we? You know, the massive shunt that we saw for Tom Chilton, and yet the doors all opened.
it's strange. You can, obviously the cars are very, very strong things, but sometimes a small crash can damage a bit of roll cage, and it really depends. I mean, that was front and rear corners, so probably not too excessive, but obviously at best it's a lot of work.
So Meshti Banani leads behind the safety car. So Bruno Carrera out front, Meshti Banani right behind him. Rob Huff in second, then McDowell and Nash, the Bamboo cars, third and fourth. Calm down, Harry, calm down. Family concern there, obviously. Tom Coronel in fifth from Tom Chilton and Ivan Muller. Then Daste, O'Young, Nukia, Mikulits and Oriola. So Pepe somehow got through all of this carnage. Oh, Mikulits.
Just
unbelievable. Gabrielli landed on Norby. This is where it all goes off. Is this Gabrielli's? No, this is Ivan's bumper. Oh no, this is Gabrielli's car. There's Ivan. Okay, so here we go. Down into two. Tom and Tom. Gabrielli. And he just gets out sideways across Ivan's nose, which ends up acting as the pivot, and suddenly, whoop, the car goes around. That's it. Bingo, instantly off.
I'm not sure if Gabrielli didn't get a little nudge from the back there, because just before he goes across, he obviously wouldn't have wanted to run out wide, and you just hear a little click just before he comes across the front of Ivan.
I think that's entirely likely, and I'm not quite sure from that who was behind him, but whatever, that was a very big impact. So race distance has gone from 12 to 14 laps to allow 4 laps lost to the safety car. That's a maximum we're allowed to add is 2 more laps, so it will now be a 14-lap race. Frank Sengster's car will remain where it is. And yeah, I guess the circuit officials are going to look at that remaining little strip of Armco unprotected by tyres and think, I think we might need to look at some tyres along there as well. You know, you allow for most things. You can't allow for every single conceivable accident. Otherwise, you wouldn't allow cars on the track. But once one has happened and exposed a potential weakness, you have to go and address that. Norby getting cheered on. He is down in 11th place. So all of that argy-bargy at the start was not good for him.
It's actually, if you look further down the order, it's benefited James Thompson fairly well. He started, obviously, from the back of the grid.
Yep. He's gone 24th to 14th, or 22nd, wherever he was, right down, up into 14th place. There he is. On board with Tomo, still behind the safety car, of course. And right foot braking there, just keeping some heat in those brakes. No need to left foot brake. He's not braking in extremis, and not really chasing the throttle either behind the safety car down the straight.
Some drivers use both a bit of left foot and right foot braking. And, I'm not sure if James does, but obviously we've seen him doing both, so yeah, I don't know if that's just because it's behind the safety car. But
I think probably because it's just behind the safety car. Normally you left foot brake, so you can be instantly swapping between brake and throttle, and sometimes using brake while you're using throttle, although not conventionally in a front-wheel drive car. Occasionally you do. That's really a panic to try and rescue a car that doesn't want to turn.
It also means you can, like you said, the transition between being on full throttle to full brake, it's so much quicker. So the engine revs are slightly higher, which helps in front-wheel drive. So you're not locking up the front wheels so much.
Well, Franz Hengstler and his car remain out there, and you can see that there's a rescue motorcycle down there. So he's clearly still receiving attention, and Gabriele Tarquini has received attention. On board with Tom Chilton, lying in 6th spot with Ivan Muller right behind him. And again, Tom using the right foot on the brake pedal. And normally he will be a left foot braker as well. And in the same way that, you know, when you drive an indoor go-kart, or an outdoor go-kart for that matter, you've only got 2 pedals, you instinctively use 2 feet because you can't get your right foot across the steering column to get to the brake pedal, and you just get on with it. And, you know, if you've never left foot braked in your life, you left foot brake. Pierre-Yves Courtal, former driver in the championship. In fact, his old chassis is the one being driven by Mark Bassang, the car that he raced with Hexagon Engineering. And still looking to try and get back into this championship. So I really missed this stuff. And Franz Hengstler looking, yeah, you see, when you're Hengstler's age, you don't bounce. And in fact, when you're Gabrielli's age, you don't bounce in the way that a teenager does. So both of those guys, the oldest 2 guys in the championship, taking big knocks, and both will be very glad indeed, I think, to get home and start getting some physio for that. Safety car coming in this lap. Lights are off already. Meshti Banani slowing the field down now, getting everybody gathered up. And we are going green once more. Restart the race, here we go. And Mejdi Benani leads them across the line as we go green once more. The Moroccan driver with the world champion behind him. Rob Huff looking to the inside. Benani knew he was going to come down. Huff has to go around the outside. McDowell and Nash in the blue and white and grey Bamboo Engineering cars. And Huff's found the power to get around the outside. He's found the grip somehow. And luckily that was wheel-to-wheel contact with the back and didn't break his steering arm on the Seat. He has got by Mejdi Benani from the restart. And Benani right into the back of the Seat and bumping into the camera. And you said this might be the chance for Rob Huff to win a race, and it absolutely might be now. And was that Muller going by Chilton or Chilton defending from Muller? Let's have a look. Hard to tell. Huff leads, Benani, then the red strip is McDowell, then Nash, then Coronel, then...
Muller was going through on Chilton there, definitely.
I didn't think he would wait long to dive bomb his teammate and get to the front. He sees a race to win as being there for the taking. Coronel, I think, might disagree, but now he's not going to enjoy having Muller behind him. After 2 or 3 laps behind the safety car, Coronel's tyre temperatures will have plummeted, and all the front-wheel drive cars will be coming in a lot faster than the BMWs. He's got to try and attack James Nash in front of him, but he's got to really make sure he doesn't let Muller go by. Nukia makes contact with Oriola, or vice versa. Nukia off the track. Pepe's coming, though. Pepe's got a good head of steam worked up, hasn't he?
Yeah, that car, maybe it's maybe they have got all the tracking right. And you know, normally if you've got a tracking problem, you just go backwards and absolutely you root your tyres in no time whatsoever.
Let's say about that car, man, you are ugly, but it is quick. Pepe Oriola is harassing Nukia. So did Mikulits get by? And yeah, Mikulits got by and got by Young as well. Norby is really going strong. Muller is inside Coronel. Coronel is driving off the corner to try and deny him. Muller is still coming. Muller is still coming. Rob Huff leads. Mejdi Benani second. McDowell third. Nash fourth. Coronel still fifth at the line. Muller now has to cut to the outside, but he's still got an overlap. Ivan Muller is going to try and go all the way around the outside. And Tom Coronel is going to try and stop him now. Does Tom Chilton go back inside Muller and make a race of it? That's going to be entertaining. And Tom has got to, at some stage, stop treating Ivan Muller as a world champion and more as the first person he has to beat in that team. Tom Chilton, wheel to wheel with Ivan Muller in those 2 red and white Chevrolets. Stefano Daste all over the grass and comes back on. There's contact with Chilton. They just survived. But Daste having a massive wobble there right in front of Norby.
That was almost a massive crash down there.
Yep, and that would have tested that barrier even more. That is Norby trying to get inside Daste. Now, I thought, I was talking earlier, and I thought that Norby had used up more tyres in qualifying than anyone else, but look, what has he got? It looks like he's got a brand new set and he's off as well, but he's still past Daste. That is a great, great move, and listen to the crowd. They're watching it on the big screens here. They're seeing every inch of that battle. Norby is inspired.
Look at the pace he's got there as well. Wow. The crowd is all chanting Norby and getting absolutely crazy underneath us.
They're the opposite of the Norwegian Parrot. You don't need 5,000 volts to make this lot full. You just need one Hungarian guy in an orange car. Daste goes off chasing him. Meanwhile, Nash is holding up Coronel and Muller.
There's a little nudge on the back of James Nash from Coronel.
Yeah, well, you know, he's now doing what he did behind Ivan Muller the whole time. He's desperately trying to get by a Chevrolet that has not got a tyre deficit yet.
Yeah.
More carnage behind. Oriola's had contact. Rub of wheel, and that tyre's not going to last long. Charles Eng is going to try and go by. James Thompson's gone by Oriola, by the way, and here comes Muller. No second chances there for Coronel to cut back inside. Ivan is there, and Tom is going to be run off the road. Yes, he does.
That was a good pass by Ivan Muller.
Yep. Cut him off on the exit to stop him going all the way around the outside. Benani being warned to respect the track limits. That means do not go onto the green AstroTurf. So Muller gets up to 5th place from 9th on the grid.
That's the beauty of these reverse grid starts. You get the pack all bunched up, not necessarily the fastest guy just drives off in front.
Nukia and O'Young behind. Stay there, stay there, stay there. No! Stay with the shot. Nukia gets by O'Young for 10th place. as they went 3 wide with Stefano D'Aste. Top 3 all still together. Look, Huff cannot get away from Bernani. Well, talk about Norby being inspired. This may be, apart from his first ever race weekend, Bernani's best race weekend in the World Touring Car Championships. McDowell in 3rd, Nash in 4th place. Right in front of this battle, Coronel right behind Ivan Muller. Muller up to 5th. That's got to be a worry. Like I said, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him on the podium, and I hold to that.
From 2nd to 8th place, they've all done their best lap on the previous lap. Shows how tight and how hard they're fighting up there.
Well, it also shows that those couple of laps behind the safety car has allowed them to get a heat cycle through the tyres, and now they're actually possibly giving as much as they would have done right at the start of the race. So 8 to go, 7 at the end of this lap. Huff and Bernani starting to just creep away from Alex McDowell, and James Nash in 4th, feeling pressure. Look and wait to see the nose of the red and white Chevy. It's got to stick out soon. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Muller's going to have a look. Nash moves into the middle of the road. Muller was not quite close enough, and he could have committed himself wholesale, but that's the problem, right behind Tom Coronel.
Coronel would have been straight in behind as well, and also if he doesn't pull it off, then, you know, he's just going to put himself a lock up there from James.
James, stop looking in the mirrors. It's only a triple world champion. Concentrate on following your racing line and leave Ivan to do what he does. Ivan lost a bit of white mirror covering in that first couple of corners. That's what the white bit was flicking off. It was from Ivan's car. Big slide there as he just pitches the car through the corner, doesn't care what the tail does, he knows he's got the front nailed. And you're absolutely right, you know, for Ivan to get by James Nash, it has to be absolutely glued on. It can't be a half stab, because Coronel will be all over the back of him and straight through.
Yeah, and even if he does manage to go through with a move which pushes him too far to the inside on a corner, then his exit's going to be so bad that Coronel's going to be coming past both of them.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Norby is in the queue. So the crowd are going to go even more mental next time round. Huff and Bernani just 4 tenths apart. McDowell now 8 tenths behind them in 3rd. Then it's 1.2 seconds to Nash, Muller, Coronel, Chilton, Michelitz, all like that.
Coronel's so fast through that final sector. You saw that in the first race as well. He's all over the back of the car in front.
Yeah. He's going to have no tyres worth carrying over to the Salzburg ring, but if he can get on the podium, he won't care. James Nash settling now with Ivan Muller in the red and white Chevy Cruze behind him, and in the McGregor BMW, Tom Coronel giving everybody all sorts of trouble. And again, in terms of actually getting in amongst the front runners, Coronel's having one of his best starts of the season that I can remember in years. On board with Norby. Can't quite hear the crowd from our camera, but I guarantee the drivers can hear every time they go by the main straight. The grandstand's roaring for Norby. Oh, Ivan got into the back of Nash almost, and that compromised his turn 1, Harry, and Tom Coronel not quite able to capitalise down to turn 2.
No, he just didn't quite have enough, but this is where Coronel seems to lose a lot in straight line speed down the main straight, and then he spends the rest of the lap coming back at the cars in front.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's been precious little development of the BMW from BMW Motorsport, well, really, for years. And it's definitely losing in the power race. In fact, I was talking to somebody else today, figuring that we're not doing too badly, considering that the Honda's probably got 50 horsepower more than us. Really? I'm going to take that with a pinch of salt. And I'm not sure that anybody's going to get 50 horsepower more out of the same air restrictor than any other engine. Well, unless you've got an A-series engine under there from a Mini, maybe the air restrictor wouldn't be the worst of your problems, but any modern engine with a turbo, I don't think it's going to be that different. I stand to be corrected, though. There's engineers who probably know different. Norbert Michelitz in the orange and black Zengo Honda. Again, not only top Honda in this race, but of course the only Honda. Oh no, Jago did start, didn't he? He's in 15th place. We just haven't seen him. A lot of work to do for the AS Motorsport crew, the Castrol Honda team, before they go to Austria. Not going to get any testing done. They're going to have to rebuild Gabrielli's car.
Norbert's on a real charge here. If you look at the ground he's made up, and his lap times, he's been lapping fairly consistently quicker than all of the guys in front of him.
Absolutely. Freddie Bart, car 73, under investigation. Not quite sure why, unless they think that he started something that he shouldn't have. Rob Huff leads from Mehdi Banani. There will be tears flowing in the pit lane if Banani ends up on the podium, not just as a Yokohama winner, but as second place.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, absolutely, his dad will be an emotional wreck.
He's driving out of his skin as well.
Yeah.
It's got to be said, he is doing really, really well here. This is by far and away the best I've seen him drive for a long time.
Right, we've just lost our timing screen, I'm afraid, so that's a bit of a disaster for us. However, on the screen you can see the action as it unfolds. And still Rob Huff holding off Mehdi Banani. He's not got away, though. At the restart, 4/10 in front, still 4/10 in front. Mehdi Banani has not given up an inch to Rob Huff. And that's quite impressive stuff from the Moroccan driver. McDowell still in third, bit of a no-man's land, 1.3 seconds behind Banani, but is still a second in front of James Nash. And again, you know, Nash, if he can keep Muller and all the others behind him till the end of this race, that's another massive learning step for him, because this is huge pressure. And we saw it with Pepiori earlier in Marrakesh. To hold off a triple world champion for an entire race, whatever position you're battling for, you've done a damn good job. And now Muller is having to worry more about Coronel as well. Tom Chilton in the second of the red and white Chevrolets, with Norbert Mikulits in the orange and black Honda giving him trouble. And in the first of the red and white Aeon Lukoil Chevrolets, Yvan Muller feeling the pinch from Tom Coronel. And we're now just by the midway part of this second race. And Harry Volkard, this is where Coronel is going to be increasingly anxious to get by, to exploit his tyre advantage over the Chevrolet, but he's not got a speed advantage.
No, you can see that if he had the same straight line speed as the others, look at the difference there.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like following the turbo diesels in days gone by. James Nash again has to defend from Yvan Muller. Coronel goes out wide to do the cutback, but Muller's too slow off the corner. Coronel can't cut back. He has to go the long way round the outside, and that puts him on the outside of Muller and Chilton. Now he cuts out wide. Chilton's inside him. Mistake by Coronel. Tom Chilton gets his nose inside. Norby is going to try and pass as well. Former BMW rivals, now BMW and Honda rivals. And Tom gets the door shut. Huff and Banani, then McDowell, that's your 1, 2, 3. Nash still fourth, Muller still fifth. Chilton now in sixth, and Coronel in seventh, ahead of Norby, and the crowd are roaring as they watch this on the big screens.
Now James Nash is going to have Yvan Muller nibbling all over the back of him for the next 3 laps, because he doesn't have the attention from behind. Although, that said, Tom Chilton's on a bit of a run as well, so it's whether Tom's going to start looking to make a move on Muller.
Well, Tom absolutely has to. His dad's here this weekend. In fact, I think it just arrived today, Graham Chilton, Chile. So he's here to watch the action and enjoy the sunshine. Managed to miss the rain on Friday, so well done. Drive-through penalty for Freddie Bart. I don't know what that was about. I think we saw an incident, unless it was the kerfuffle that ended up with Tarquini going off. I don't think he was even close enough to be involved in that. Chilton with Coronel, the 2 Toms, and the chance of Norby. Norby are going up all around us in the grandstands.
Darryl Young's having a good drive as well.
Yeah. 10th place for Darryl, just behind Michel Ducia. In fact, he and Stefano D'Asto got back in front of Freddie Bart on the last couple of laps. Here comes Coronel again. He's almost got an overlap at the beginning of the straight, and by the end he's 2 or 3 car lengths behind. And here comes Norby. Norby has got speed. Is Norby going to attack down the inside? No, not close enough this time round. This is lap 12 of 14. Time is running out. The anti-penultimate lap. 2 to go after this, but let's not rule this lap out as the source of some excitement as well. Huff and Banani still, by the way, Huff has now crept out very nearly an extra 10th over Banani in the last couple of laps. He's now 0.54, not 0.44 out. McDowell still third. Again, an overall podium for Alex McDowell, potentially.
I wonder how much Rob's keeping the gap as it needs to be, you know, to mind his tyres, because he doesn't want to scamper off too far in the lead. But
good question. Black and white flag for Hugo Vallant. Respect the track limits, please. Nash versus Muller for 4th. Nash at the moment, the Yokohama Trophy points leader, third of the scoring cars because he's got Bernani and McDowell in front of him. Huff does not score in the Yokohama Trophy. He is out front, though, and looking for a race win #1 of his World Champion season. And again, just the fact that Norby was showing his nose has the crowd roaring their approval. It is almost like a Man United crowd cheering as Giggs gets the ball inside the 10-yard box, isn't it? It's just ridiculous. Big bobble from Tom Chilton, and that's got to be an opportunity there for Tom Coronel. It's exactly what Tom's been doing all the way through the weekend, hitting the big curves on the inside and bouncing the car across the road. This time, though, he gets away with it. But now Coronel and Mikulits are right with him.
Norby's going to get the overlap here. I know, maybe not.
Well, he may well do. He's got straight line speed that the BMW does not. He'll close on Coronel. Even in the slipstream, Coronel can't stay with the Chevrolet. And now Muller still with Nash, but closing up on McDowell. And that will be problems for James Nash. He'll have his teammate in front and the great white shark right behind looking to pounce. Do sharks pounce? They don't really, do they?
Difficult situation to be in when you're racing with your teammate. And
horrendous.
Especially if you've got Ivan Muller pushing you in the same car, which you wouldn't thank anyone for it, to be honest.
No, exactly. I mean, horrendous position for James Nash to be in. And the only thing he can do now is try and get by Alex McDowell and get on the podium and leave Alex to deal with Ivan Muller. Look at the way those Chevys rotate through that corner. The rear steering its way round as they can keep the nose tight. And that's all helping preserve front tyre life. That's why Coronel, quicker though he is through the twisty middle sector, can't get by them.
I think Coronel's going to be sick of looking at the back of that car by the end of today.
Oh, and he goes through up on the inside. That's like a bend, an island bend move, isn't it? At Alton Park, straight up the inside, and Norby gets eased off wide, trying to avoid Chilton's wayward Chevy. Drifted up onto the curbs, and Nukia and O'Young are there now behind Norby.
That Coronel move was a typical example of the tyres. Just Tom Chilton just couldn't come tight enough.
Nukia's coming past. Norby slides out wide. Nukia's not coming past. Yes, you're absolutely right.
He just couldn't tighten the line just to defend it.
Car stopped at the pit entry, and that is Freddie Bart. Why would he be stopped in the pit entry? I don't know, but we've been warned about that. It has stopped. It's come to a dead halt. Well, luckily nobody will need to go in until the end of the race. Here's your race leader then. Rob Huff goes on to the last lap. World champion last year, and he has had one podium finish so far this season. Mehdi Bennani in second place, Alex McDowell in third, James Nash in fourth, Ivan Muller in fifth, then Coronel and Chilton. The orange and black car, Mikulits ahead of the black and white of Nukia, yellow and white and red of O'Young, and then Daste behind them.
Rob Huff must have an absolutely blinding start as well to manage to stick it in the lead like so early on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And luckily everybody got the debris cleared away. No puncture legacies from that. But Rob Huff, of course, having to make sure that Bernani's BMW gets nowhere near close enough to make a lunge.
Yeah.
It's one thing having somebody go by you cleanly. What you really don't want is for somebody not to go by you cleanly and have a last lap lunge and clatter you off.
Yeah.
Because then even if they get by to win because they've got the better car on the day, if you get second, that's one thing, but you don't want to end up in the boonies.
No, and with all due respect, Bernani has done that once or twice in his
yeah, absolutely. And you know, Huff's not spent a lot of time racing wheel to wheel with Bernani, and so as a result won't be entirely sure what to expect. So yeah, expect the unexpected and stay away if you can. Rob Huff is the race leader. The gap now just about as big as it's been all race long. Was half a second at the start of the lap. I'm not even sure it's that. That's down to more like 0.3 of a second. Bernani still trying to force an error out, the world champion, in the final corner. But it is going to be Rob Huff who claims victory here. Round 8 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. The world champion wins. Mehdi Bennani, a career high second, and Alex McDowell will be on the podium just in front of teammate James Nash. Third and fourth from Muller Coronel, Chilton, Mikulits in 8th, Nukia 9th, O'Young 10th, Daste 11th, James Thompson 12th. Pro Team celebrate 2nd. That's as big as a win for them. And Rob Huff, you saw how happy Peter, his dad, was. I know that they're watching back home as well, so congratulations. I'm sure Jazzy's very happy. I'm sure Rob's mum is very happy. And his sister as well.
Motorsport is for you. Absolutely fantastic. Very, very well done. Very well deserved, boys. That's what it feels like to win the World Touring, well done. Yeah, baby!
that says it all, doesn't it? It's, you know, that hasn't come easily, and you can see that in Rob's delight there. It's obviously been it's been a long time coming in this car, but it's not been an easy road so far.
No, absolutely. Well, look, we said last weekend, didn't we, when Gabriele Tarquini won, just 6 races into the career of the Honda Civic. Well, actually, bearing in mind that they did a few races last year, and Yas have got experience of this. But all Inkle don't. Munich Motorsport don't. They have never run a touring car team, and they've just won 8 races into their World Touring Car career, so that's great. And the Moroccan family are absolutely cock-a-hoop. Well, lots of drama and excitement. Not exactly the world's greatest overtaking fest. It's certainly not race 2 from Slovakia, but lots going on in both races here at the Hungary Ring. And Rob Huff gets his first win of the season, the first win for allinkle.com for Munich Motorsport, and the second win for Seat as well, because Pepe Oriola, of course, also has claimed victory for a Seat this year. So the shells might be getting a little old and creaky, but there is life in the old dogs yet.
3 independents in the top 4 is a fantastic result as well.
Bernardi, McDowell on the outright podium, James Nash in 4th place. And again, we talked about Nash holding off the whole race. Absolutely kudos. And, you know, it's those things where you then are, OK, it's Ivan Muller, but he's just another guy and he's got to get by. And, you know, they stop having some magical influence over you. Once you've done it once and you know you can hold him off, you know, that's great. His car might be better in some areas. His experience is certainly much better than James Nash's. James Nash kept him behind. OK, it's the Hungary Ring. It's not the easiest track to overtake on. But if you crumble just because it's Ivan Muller, and, you know, that's entirely possible because, like Tarquini or Huff, you know, they're world champions. They've got a lot behind them in terms of knowledge of how to pass and how to make people make mistakes.
And in identical machinery as well, so, you know, it's hats off for that. And
absolutely.
Alex McDowell had a great race to stay third, but it's got to be said that Bernardi's driven out of his skin. I think he's really excelled himself this weekend, and, you know, it's been a long time coming, but what a great result for him.
And Rob's day in the sun is exactly that, a very bright and sunny day in the sun. Munich Motorsport win their first race in the World Touring Car Championship. They are, of course, the FIA GT World Champions. And Rob Huff. And, you know, this all started from a casual discussion at dinner at the FIA Awards Gala in Monaco. Or it wasn't in Monaco last year, was it? The FIA Awards Gala last year, anyway. 2 world champions talking to each other. And Randy Munich said, oh, what are you doing? You know, fancy coming to drive for us? We're coming to the World Touring Car Championship. And from there, from little acorns grow mighty oaks, and I'm sure, there you go, very, very happy Huffy indeed. Well, I sense there might be some Germans there who might be in town drinking beer tonight. Just a wild stab, well, you know, just a very slight possibility. And a great start to the relationship as well with his engineer, Juan Sevilla from Seat, who he's never worked with before. 8 races in, they've got a car that did the job and won the race. And Norby offers his congratulations to Mehdi Bennani. The pro team guys, very happy indeed with that. And Bennani should be as well, shouldn't he? As you say, this has been, you know, perhaps his week. Nothing is going to take away the delight of being able to race on the streets of Marrakesh in a world championship for him. That'll always be a huge thing. But yeah, that's his best overall race weekend, I would think, in terms of consistency and pace.
Yeah, exactly.
Now he needs to hang on to that and find it again.
It shows that it can all come from nothing as well. Yes. His qualifying wasn't that great. It was he's qualified 12th, so you know, to have 2 really strong races, you know, from a lower place on the grid, well, you know, it's been really good for him.
And that is a very hot and very happy Moroccan. Oh, look at the face on him. That's just wonderful. And equally hot and equally happy. Let's hear from Rob Huff, our winner.
Rob, congratulations. Race 2 victor here in Hungary. What does it feel like winning in a Seat?
A little bit different. You have to work a bit harder for it, that's for sure. But, you know, top job by the team. Allinkle.com. What an amazing opening season. We had rotten luck at the beginning of the year in Monza and Marrakesh. 2 weekends later, we're on the top of the steps. So brilliant. That one's for you guys. Just awesome effort. Car was faultless. And, yeah, Mehdi was putting some pressure on for sure, but just had the measure on. But so happy for the team. Really well done.
A P4 and a P1. An amazing weekend. Could you have predicted this at the start of the weekend with an extra 10 kilos?
Probably not. No, definitely not. I think just points this year are like wins, but to get a win, that's just amazing. It's like my first win all over again. So very, very, very happy indeed. So pleased.
Mehdi Benani will be coming down here in just a second. He's already wants to get on the podium, so let's have a quick word with Mehdi Benani. Come in, Mehdi. Not only an independent victory once again, but also second on the podium this time.
Yes, it's not today, it's a dream. So, for me, what's the message can I tell now? We can be bigger. Morocco are here, we are fighting with the best. I was fighting all the race with Huff, who is the world champion. Now I tell to everybody I can be with a real team, real constructor to fight with the world championship. When I was leading, nobody maybe trusted me. Now we are beginning to trust it.
And the car looks so good.
Yes, we have been so strong. The team do a great job. We know that the BMW has one step less than the other constructor who put too much money. But we see, we have 2 great results. It's a dream for me. Thanks.
Head up and enjoy the podium.
Thank you.
Well, look, next time out, Salzburg. It was a BMW Fest last year. It could well be again this year. Huff really used all his knowledge and experience, Harry Folkart, to get in front of Benani at that restart. And, you know, but for that, if somehow Mehdi had managed to keep his nose in front, I think he would have held Huff off all the way. I think he was... Yeah, he did a very good possibility of winning. But, you know, as you said, against Rob Huff, that's a tough ask.
Faultless, he didn't make any mistakes, did he, throughout the race that I saw? You know, there's no sort of unforced errors, there's no running wide, no getting a little bit sideways off corners, and that's why he finished where he did, and that's why he was so close to Rob right till the very end.
And again, great results for both Alex McDowell and James Nash. Not both of them could have been on the podium, which is a little bit of a shame, I'm sure, for both of them, but Alex is on the podium, and James Nash, 4th place, still leads the Yokohama Trophy standings, and great race for him to hold off Ivan Muller all the way through the race. So there is Alex, and he will join Mehdi Benani and Rob Huff. Ivan Muller leads by 46. Tarquini not scoring here puts a real wrinkle in the way the championship looks. But Rob Huff, after the lows of Monza, all right, he's 92 points behind, but he is 3rd in the champion standings, ahead of everybody else. So, yeah, the team certainly have tasted the highs and the lows of this championship already. Normal service is resumed for Norby as Rob Huff leads them out for the race 2 podium. Mehdi Benani, yeah, that is as good as a win, isn't it? And Alex McDowell, very happy as well with the position, I'm sure. But Yeah, it's going to be hard to wipe that grin off Huffy's face or Huff Daddy's. The anthem for our winning driver, and now for our winning manufacturer, Seat. Well, first race this year, I think that Jaime Puig, the boss of Seat Sport, has not been here, and they win. So somebody's going to have to suggest to him that he doesn't come to anymore, and they might continue winning. Some very happy Moroccans down there as well. And Alex McDowell. There's some very happy Cumbrians as well, bouncing up and down. Could be a bit of a wild time in the old town tonight, I think, in downtown Budapest. Alex McDowell takes third place. Second place for Mehdi Benali. Félicitations. C'était super bien fait. There's his dad, his mum's down there as well. His dad's finally started breathing again. I guarantee he hasn't drawn breath for the entire race. And Rob Huff. Well done indeed. And for the Munich Motorsport team, herzlich Glückwunsch. Fantastic performance from them. From an absolute standing start with no knowledge of the cars or the championship. It's taken them just 8 races to get a win. So Seat, the winning constructor. And Mark Basseng looking very happy as well. Rennie Munich will be beaming ear to ear. The Yokohama Trophy points winner is Mehdi Benali as well. I know who's going to lose the champagne fight. He's got both arms full of heavy metal, hasn't he? So he's a Muggins.
As long as he doesn't start throwing that around instead.
Yeah. It'll be drop trophies and get loose with the champagne. And that is it. Lots and lots of big stories here, as ever, from the Hungaro ring. It really seems to produce excitement and news. 8 races. And we've got another first-time winner this season as Rob Huff takes victory in round 8.
Japan quality. Yokohama.